happy Tuesday. I'm going to go over another pose tonight to describe, again, my favorite stabilization cues and isometric relaxation cues for fire log pose. So these are going to be themes within all of my classes, all of my poses. Being a chiropractor, I have a strong foundation of wanting to pull your extremities close to the core. And what that's doing is stabilizing your shoulder blades, your pelvic floor, your hips, your pelvis, and it's allowing your midline to be very strong and activated to then eventually allow the extremities to be flexible. So fire log pose is a seated posture, and ideally we're working towards getting the tibias, the lower legs, parallel on top of each other, so stacked on top of each other. Right away, this pose will look different for everybody depending on how open your hips are and how stable, upright you can get through the front body and the core. So right now I'm not really warmed up, so you can see I have a little bit of height from here to here. And I'm going to show you ways to use post-isometric relaxation, which is a contract and relax mechanism to fatigue the muscles, prepare the muscles, and then they're going to give me more space. So I'm going to turn a little bit so you can see what we're doing. Ideally, you're warmed up, a class that has a lot of hip opening, hip activation, strengthening through the hips, not necessarily just big stretching through the hips. So a lot of standing balance things, half moon, warrior three, standing splits, those are all great poses to then end with fire log. So getting your shins lined up here, always flex the toes up, so 90 degrees at the ankles. And what that's gonna do is basically allow a 90-degree opportunity for me to create a bind. So I like to create a bind from ankles, from my elbows into the foot. So in class, you'll see me start really high and upright. It's an opportunity to create and learn how to hip hinge. So instead of leaving your hips back and rounding into the pose, really tall spine, nothing moves but the hips. The sitting bones are pushing backwards, torso coming forward. Use the elbows to create some kind of lock into the foot. So shoulder blades are pulled back into the spine, tall ears, and I'm breathing low through the belly for 3, 2, 1, big breath in. Exhale, relax, see if you can walk a little bit closer. Again, find the feet, lock the arms into the feet for 3, 2, 1, big breath in. Exhale, walk your way down. Now you may be able to find that bottom foot to push into both feet. Tall ears, shoulder blades down the spine, deep in that hip hinge, maybe even squeezing the glutes up and in towards the pelvic floor. Holding for 3, 2, 1, big breath in. Exhale, work your way down. And so you continue that contract and relax repetition until you find your full range. So already you can see how much my hips have kind of found their warmed up, their range already, and I can close the gap between my foot. If your fire log pose does not look like this yet, how to get there, how to feel safe on the knees, one leg at a time is a great way to start. So getting the front foot in front of you in parallel and let the other leg extend long. Everybody wants to push the knees down here, and that's not the goal. It's actually to pull the entire length of the leg back to your pelvis as you get tall and able to lean forward. So working just like we did in the seating posture, leaning forward, squeeze the legs back towards you and create a little bit of a bind here. So I'm pushing the knees open, pulling the shoulder blades back towards my spine, squeezing the glutes for 3, 2, 1, big breath in. Exhale, relax, work your way down. And you'll just do this again and again until you'll find kindness and length in one leg at a time. If you are immediately having trouble through the ankles or through the knees, it could be because you're not warmed up enough or you're not allowing the hip to create the motion. So if your hip does not have good external rotation, you're gonna try to force that from the knee and from the ankle. The knee is not built to externally rotate, so that's why this is not a great pose to start your practice with. It's not a great pose to just try to do in the middle of the day. Another thing you can do to work towards this posture, if the teacher cues fire log, and this is always going to be a little asymmetric for you, you can put a block underneath or roll a blanket just to give you support under the leg that's a little bit high. If you're holding the leg up, you're not going to allow yourself to get into that centrated position, that aligned posture. So give yourself the support underneath the blanket and then start to work your way forward. I also really like to trick the mind that's getting pressured, the mind that thinks that's panicking, that you're not, that you're in discomfort, by adding some rotation. So instead of immediately trying to lay forward in this posture, put one forearm down, twist open, twist away from the tight hip. Add some circles, rotate the upper arm, breathe as you're heavy weighted through the right hip. Maybe opposing, maybe going the other way, add the other forearm down, twist open, deep side body breathing. Those little micro movements, those micro vectors of fascial release will allow you to find a more comfortable posture. Hopefully the teacher gives you enough time to stay there long enough. And I think that's going to be a great way to work towards the full expression of fire log. Last and certainly not least, when you feel like this double pigeon posture, fire log pose, is just you're not ready for this, it's not matching your body type, always working towards just supine, maybe a figure 4, and pulling your knees to chest. And you'll repeat that on both sides. No teacher is going to be offended that you honored your body and picked a different modification. So try that out, and your next practice, I hope you have a more comfortable and dynamic fire log pose. Please leave me some comments or questions. Let me know if there's anything you'd like me to work on next Tuesday, and I hope everyone has a great night.